Celia Cruz, known as the Queen of Salsa, lived a life that was as vibrant and complex as her music. Born in Havana, Cuba in 1925, her journey from a humble beginning in Santos Suarez to becoming an international icon was marked by significant controversies, personal challenges, and profound relationships that early life and career beginnings. Cruz's early life was steeped in the rich musical culture of Cuba. Despite her father's wishes for her to become a teacher, her mother's encouragement led her to win a singing contest, setting her on a path to fame. Her association with La Sonora Matancera in the 1950s catapulted her into the limelight, but it was also during this time that she faced her first major controversy. Unbeknownst to many, Cruz was banned from entering the United States in the mid-1950s due to suspicions of communist affiliations, a label she had to clear over nearly a decade, showcasing the political undercurrents that often shadowed her career. Exile and new beginnings. The Cuban Revolution in 1959 marked a turning point. While on tour in Mexico with La Sonora Matancera, Cruz decided not to return to Cuba, effectively beginning her life in exile. This decision was not just personal but also political, aligning her with the anti-Castro sentiment among many Cuban exiles. Her refusal to perform for Fidel Castro led to her being persona non grata in Cuba, a stance that prevented her from attending her mother's funeral, illustrating the deep personal cost of her political stance. Rise to stardom in the U.S. Relocating to the United States, Cruz initially struggled to find her footing. However, her collaboration with Tito Puente and later with the Fania All-Stars not only introduced her to a broader audience but also redefined salsa music. Her marriage to Pedro Knight, a former trumpeter from La Sonora Matancera, provided both personal support and professional guidance, with Knight becoming her manager. Their partnership was not just musical but deeply personal, enduring until her death. Challenges and controversies. Cruz's life was not without its share of controversies and personal trials. Her exile meant she could never return to Cuba, a sacrifice that weighed heavily on her, especially in missing family milestones. Moreover, her rise in the U.S. was against the backdrop of systemic racism and sexism, where she, as a Black woman, had to navigate a predominantly male-dominated industry. Her music, while celebrated, also faced critique for not being revolutionary enough in its content, focusing more on joy and rhythm rather than overt political messages. The legacy and relationships. Celia Cruz's relationships extended beyond her marriage to Knight. Her mentorship of younger artists like L.A. India highlighted her role as not just a performer but a figurehead for Latin music, especially for women. Her interactions with fans and fellow musicians were characterized by warmth and a shared love for music, making her a cultural ambassador for Cuban and Latin American heritage. The public persona vs. private struggles. Publicly, Cruz was known for her exuberance, her trademark shot of azucar sugar, and her colorful, flamboyant costumes. However, behind this persona lay a woman who faced significant personal losses, including the death of her brother and the inability to return home. Her music often reflected a deep-seated nostalgia for Cuba, a longing that never left her. Conclusion. Celia Cruz's life story is a tapestry of triumphs over adversities, from being banned from the U.S. to becoming one of its cultural treasures, from the pain of exile to the joy of global recognition. Her journey encapsulates the essence of resilience. Her controversies, from political mislabeling to personal sacrifices, underline the complexities of living between two worlds. Her relationships, both personal and professional, were the backbone of her career, providing support and inspiration. Through it all, Cruz's music remained her voice, her bridge between worlds, and her legacy, making her not just a singer but a symbol of cultural identity and resistance. Her story, filled with challenges and controversies, ultimately paints a picture of a woman who, through her art, transcended boundaries, leaving an indelible mark on the world.